Benny is back, and AP, you already know I'm AP, and I'm back to give y'all my review of the brand new Benny the Butcher album, Tana Talk 4. It's AP on the spot. Tana Talk 4, let's just get into it. Track number 1, Johnny P's Caddy, featuring J. Cole, produced by The Alchemist. What has to be said about this song that hasn't been said already? It was the lead jump-off single on the album, and it's the first single off the album. We've heard it because it's been out for roughly about almost 2 months. Track number 2, Back 2 Times, featuring Stove God Cooks, produced by Derringer and Beat Butcher. The instrumental, the track, is very mellow, very keyboardish piano kind of beat, very mellow track. Benny sets it off with a very nice verse, actually. One of my favorite lines from Benny on this joint was when Benny was like, Arm and Hammer with ice, connected like Joe Montana and Rice, scanners and lights. You value your team, you paying them right. Candid advice, you gonna need them when they read the Miranda rights. Real dope verse by Benny. I did not like, in full transparency, I'm just going to be completely honest. I've never been a Stove God Cooks kind of dude. Never liked his music. Never. I think he's, overrated and overhyped. His verse was just, it didn't do it for me. And I really didn't care for him, on the, the little chorus or whatever. I just didn't do it for me. Track 3, Super Plug, produced by Alchemist. This one keeps with that same kind of feel to it. The instrumental, the beat is keyboardish, kind of piano kind of beat. I like it. Very, very smooth, very, very slow and mellow. And Benny is spitting some real talk on this one. On the second verse, he talks about how basically, rough times he had growing up and how he had to stash work, stash drugs in his pop's couch. And he was talking about a little bit letting us in on his life growing up, which I love when Benny does that, because that lets us be able to relate to him, because we all can relate to whether it be Benny or a lot of these MCs, that lets us in on their real lives in some kind of way. Benny talks about how he got kicked out of high school, and he just talks about a lot of authentic themes on this song and on this album. I think we can all relate to, if not definitely not all of his subject material, we can definitely relate to at least a couple of things that Benny is talking about throughout this album. Weekends and the Perrys, featuring Boldly James, is up next, produced by Alchemist. This joint right here, another slow, nice little keeping with the theme of what the Alchemist is doing for Benny with the pacing and the type of beats he's producing for Benny, on some softer, more slower, melodic kind of tracks. Boldly James actually does his thing and has a pretty, lengthy verse on this track. For me, not being a fan of Boldly James' style, I know he's now part of the Griselda family. West Side Gun has kind of incorporated Boldly James and Stove God Cooks into the Griselda Records family. Boldly James did have a nice verse on it. And of course, we already know Benny had a nice verse. Track 5 is 10 More Commandments. This is Benny's sequel to Biggie's. We all know 10 Crack Commandments, but number 5 is 10 More Commandments, featuring Puff. Diddy is on it, and Diddy is doing some ad-libbing, of course, as he classically does. I'm not gonna say classically, but as he usually does on tracks, Diddy is doing his infamous or famous or well-known ad-libs, and this song was produced by Derringer and Beat Butcher, and I think it's good. I like the beat. I like the beat. I was hoping that, once I heard that Premier, Benny was like, he got Premier's and Diddy's approval for the track. Since Diddy was on the song, I was hoping that Primo would have maybe did some scratches on it, or Primo would have maybe did something special on it to give it that original 10 Crack Commandments feel. But Primo didn't have anything to do with the track, but the song is definitely banging. 2 of his commandments that really stood out to me was commandment number 17, when Benny was like, 17, take care of the people around you. They only appreciate how you value loyalty when they're eating beside you. If everybody ain't eating, you gonna get ate. You a worker, the boss wouldn't be here without you. You do the dirty work from the 1st to the 31st, but I see they forgot about you. And then another commandment that Benny goes on to talk about is commandment number 13. Big wasn't even around for the talkings that Benny is discussing in commandment 13. When Benny says 13 tricky, Big couldn't even approach it. When he was slinging and toting, this wasn't even a focus. No social media posting, greedy emotion, chase fame and not the money. That's broke. Y'all be on Yo, I'm doing my clean edits right there. But yeah, this song was definitely dope though. I like how Benny did his rendition of his version of the 10 Crack Commandments. So this is a dope song right here. Definitely a hot joint. Next up, we got number 6, Tyson versus Ali, which features Conway the Machine and is produced by Derringer. This one right here, this is the one. Conway comes in with a very, very dope verse. I wish Conway's album would have been as reflective of Conway's new album that he just dropped not about a week or two ago. God Doesn't Make Mistakes. I wish his whole album would have sounded like this track right here, because this track is immaculate. Conway basically is discussing how, telling Benny not to pay attention to the noise, all the chatter about everybody always asking either one of them in interviews, what's up with Griselda? Is the team still together? Yo, are y'all still family? Are y'all still cool? Basically, Conway is shutting all of the rumors, all of that chatter down about all of that. Conway is bigging up Benny in the song. Conway is bigging up Benny's team, his BSF fam in the song. And so Conway is giving some major props, letting everybody know that it's all family and ain't nothing breaking up the fam. I love when Conway says, don't get distracted by the noise. Don't let it ruin your thing. They tried to pick you off, but that's really a moving screen. You and your team gonna see like 2 or 3 rings. Win that MVP trophy. That's such a beautiful thing. Then we got Uncle Bun, produced by Derringer, track 7, and this features 38 Special. And this one right here, we just keep come on now. We just keep getting teased with all of this 38 Special and Benny verses and collabos over the last 3 years, 3 going on like 4 years. We need Stabbed and Shot Part 2. We've been promised that EP, that album, for the last 4 years. I planned it and all I had was a flight ticket. When I landed, I took advantage of the price difference. Listen, I got a hand that could write scriptures, but y'all take the stand and land me in tight fences. F a life sentence. Pray God hand me the right riches. Turn this one brick to a family of white. Getting back to it, track 8, Throwaway's Revenge, produced by Alchemist. And this is Benny flowing over, doing his double time flow on it. And he sounds good. It's a little bit, the beat is a little bit more up-tempo than some of the other instrumentals and tracks that we've heard by Alchemist on this album. Then we got number 9, Billy Joe, produced by Alchemist. I like the little faint chorus that you hear, that you can hear slightly used throughout the whole track. Is very, very faint, but it's like a little chorus that's used, and Benny is just actually floating on this beat, so I like it. Who are you? I'm Scarface versus Sosa. I'm both sides. These goat lines gonna make you feel like Rick off a Coke line. Track 10 is Guerrero, featuring the one and only West Side Gun, makes his appearance on this project. And I like this song. And this song was produced by, first of all, it was produced by Derringer and Beat Butcher. Track 11, Bust a Nick, produced by Alchemist. And then closing it out with track 12, Mr. Chow Hall, produced by Alchemist once again. And this album is very, very good. It's a very dope album. Is it better? Now, this is the bigger picture and the bigger question a lot of people are going to ask, and it's going to get compared to Tana Talk 3. In my humble opinion, when you ask, or when the question comes up, is this album better than Tana Talk 3? No. Tana Talk 3 was one of those albums that was a whole movement, and it set off a whole it set off. It was one of those trend-setting albums that set off the whole Griselda explosion in 2018. You know what I mean? This one is a very good album. It's definitely up there. Thinking of all the Benny's albums, we got Plugs I Met, 1 and 2. Is this album better than Plugs I Met? I don't think so. I don't think it's better than the original Plugs I Met. That album was a classic. It's definitely better than Plugs I Met 2. Is it better than Stabbed and Shot? That was a 38 Special collabo album, so we can't compare it to that. Was it better than the Hit Boy album? Looking back on it, I'll have to go back and listen to it to see which album was better. But right now, I'm kind of giving it the edge over that Hit Boy album. I think it was it Burden of Proof? Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to do this off the top of the head. But this album was a good album. I give this album, we're doing it out of 5 now. Source Magazine rating 1 through 5, 1 being absolutely terrible, 5 being a hip hop classic. I'm giving this album a strong 4 mics, 4 stars. I thought this album was a very, very good album from Benny. Definitely one to add to all of his other joints. I mean, Benny has never gave us a mediocre or a whack album, and he always shows up lyrically, so this is definitely a 4 mic album in my humble opinion.